Well, hello, my little warriors, and how are you on this Friday afternoon? Or should I say evening, night? I'm not sure what time it is where you're at. Sorry for the little bit of delay, just had to get things prepared and ready to go. And we shall begin. I shall start by saying that this is a no drama llama channel, which means we have a set of different moderators in the chat that are watching and waiting. Do not want any drama. Want everybody to feel comfortable and welcome. Want them to stay by, stay calm, stay happy, and enjoy what the live stream has to offer for them. I also want to thank the moderators for being here and present and ready to go. And if you notice a little wrench by their name, that is probably one of the moderators. So I shall take a moment and say hi to everybody in the chat. So I shall go to the chat and read through. It looks like we have a total of 15 people watching. If you are watching, feel free to join the chat if you're just listening. And if you don't feel comfortable with chatting, then I am still very thankful that you're here. It looks like in the chat we have Outrum, Leon, PA Nightmares, The Sleeping Wendigo, Evil Outcast, General, Vanette, let's see, Infinite Psychosis, Lance Creepy Reading, Todd Dozer. Hi everyone, and I am so glad you are here. I am glad that you can be present for this birthday live stream. I want to know, how has your week been? I know that usually in the past I've done live streams on Monday and Friday, but I think we're going to narrow that down to Friday because according to analytics, the best time to live stream is Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And I think Friday might be the great opportunity for all of us to kick back, sit by the fire, and have a great live stream, to chat, to read stories, I don't know, anything we want to do at this point. And I want to thank everybody for telling me happy birthday. That means so much to me. Birthday was so far so good. In our house, we try our very best to make the whole month a birthday happy. But sometimes you can't always do that. But so far, everything's been wonderful and pleasant. I've been excited. I don't know, just nothing negative to say about the birthday. I'm not overly fond of, because I don't know, the last 12 years, Lord knows has ruined every one of my birthdays. And so it's been taking a slow turn not to be, sad around birthday. But I've got such wonderful family and friends, and you guys add the cherry on top to everything. I'm hoping everybody can hear me good. Just leave a thumbs up in the live chat if you can hear, the audio's good, music's not too loud. Just, pleasantly enjoying the stream so far. Also, bear with me, my fibromyalgia has been acting up today, so there's a little bit of discomfort and a little bit of pain. But I did not want to cancel this live stream. I miss you guys so much. And we're getting back into the channel. I want to go ahead and say that real quick. That there is a list of videos that are waiting inside my computer to be uploaded and scheduled. The live stream's on Friday. And I am so glad. We're going to start off slow, guys. I want to get into this back into my channel. Get it strong and going. And, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry. Get back into the channel. So we're going to start slow with live streaming. Then we're going to work into like a video a week. Then 2 videos a week. And I want to get back to the channel's original strength. Back in the day when I first started, I did at least 2 videos a week. I had 1 to 2 live streams, which we're going to cut that down to 1 live stream. And I also did reviews in front of the camera, and I did a lot of live readings in front of the camera, and I really miss that. I had a lot of people that made lots of comments saying I was one of the first people to record stories in front of the camera, And I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I know I was the first female narrator to do that. So I'm going to smile, and I want to get back to that. I want to get back to the channel's glory and bring you guys the best content I can give you. Let's see. I have not been reading the chat. I'm sorry. Infinite Psychosis, you have cloned yourself successfully 3.5 times. You have to tell me your secret. I must know this secret so I can clone myself, so I can, have one clone go to my, my job, one clone to be a mom, and one clone so I can do all of my YouTube joys and social media joys that I miss sometimes. Let's see. I'm seeing thumbs up, so everybody's getting good audio, and they're being everything's going good. Good. Thank you, PA. It's not bad. I mean, I usually can have some fibromyalgia kick in due to weather or stress, and I've had both of that this week. Lots of stress and some weather issues today, but I'm trying to think for a second. So I'm doing okay. I'm not doing too bad. I'm able to live stream, able to be here. And if I miss anything in the chat, I am not ignoring you. It's just hard to keep up with the chat because I'm, using my phone to keep up with the chat while I can monitor other things going on. Yes, I do show my face on my channel. Back when I was full blown into my channel, I showed my face pretty much nonstop. And then of course I had to take a short sabbatical due to personal reasons, and nothing came from the channel except for live streams. But starting very soon, I have a room set up with backdrops and everything to start maybe live streaming on Fridays in front of the camera. I miss that. I really do. I miss live streaming. I miss doing videos in front of the camera. I just miss that. I know I've probably said that about 100 times, but I do. I really miss that. I forgot to get me a sweet tea, guys. I'm sorry. I should have got me one before I started this. I am glad. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. It's, looks like Lop Lover Tolman. I probably just butchered that to no end, but I'm sorry. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad, and I hope that you get to enjoy the channel. I do both. I do in front of the camera and behind the camera. Just depends on what best quality I can give to the channel. So if I can be in front of the camera, I will be, and if I can't, I won't. Just depends on what we can do. Yes, you can find me on Shorts, you can find me on TikTok, you can find me on Instagram, you can find me on Twitter. I try to give you guys as much content as I can, even if I can't do it necessarily all the time on sorry, I'm trying to get Lakota. And if you're new to the channel, Lakota is my mascot. He is a wonderful boxer who is not minding me without me having to mute the microphone and scream at him to get back in here. Tolman, that's a good idea. So I can narrow it. Lakota. He's like, oh my gosh, I hear sounds. What's going on? Todd, did you watch The Black Phone? And it was a scary thrill ride. It was amazing and wonderful. Come on, lay by me. Come live stream with me, Lakota. Say hi to everyone. He leaves the sounds for you. Yes, Evil, you can hear Lakota. He is a stinker. But tonight, I was going to read some possibly true scary birthday stories. Because I thought, what better way to do this is maybe do 15 birthday party horror stories, that might make you never want to have a birthday year in your life again. I thought that might be interesting to do. And then I picked up some creepypastas if we have time that are about scary birthdays. Just whatever we have time for. But before we get started, just remember that we always pause in between each story and rate the story. And then maybe possibly discuss it. So, hopefully. So, without further ado, we shall get this started. Please take my hand and follow me into the shadows. Sometimes, just sometimes, the things you see in the shadows are more than just shadows. So let me be your guide, and let's begin. Birthdays can be a joyous occasion to celebrate your birth, of course. They can also be a pleasure-filled day consisting of new and old letdowns. As you will hear in these next stories, these poor people have experienced tragic birthdays. So, better luck next time, and hopefully your next birthday might be a little bit better. Number 1. A fail at every turn. I've only ever had one proper birthday party organized. I think I was like 7. Out of 20 invited, 4 showed up. Still, it was okay. It was this go-kart place. Because of the lack of people, they opened it up to the public. And it was my very first time, and I was going slow. I got bashed into the tire wall. Had a circular bruise for a while. They flew the yellow flag for people to stop so I could get out as the cart was pretty much totaled. As I got up, someone slammed into me and I flipped into the tires and landed face down. Spent a good half an hour throwing up cake. As the place was wrapping up, apparently, some of the kids that were not part of the party ducked under the divider and took my presents and most of the remaining cake. So, that is the end of that one. How would you rate that? I would say that's pretty sucky and pretty terrible. So, let's see, go back to the chat. Yes, PA, it's my puppy. He's only 80 pounds, but he's still my puppy. And he's under a year, he just hit a year old. Yes, Evil, it is a boxer. Yes, Todd, for the black phone, I really thought the special effects were awesome. Oh gosh, I actually think next weekend I'm going to watch it again just because it was wonderful. Now I'm going to ask you guys this. I've only read one story that's Lakota's antsy. He's like, I don't know, guys. I don't know if these true birthday stories are worth it. Do you guys want me to read a medium length creepypasta about birthdays, or do you want me to read birthday horror stories? Because those are going to be hit and miss. They're going to not necessarily be scary in the sense of supernatural, but maybe scary in the sense of, man, my birthday party was ruined. I'm going to let you guys vote. 1 for creepypasta, 2 for scary, true scary horror stories, or birthday stories. May not be horror, may just be scary stories. Hey, Lone Wolf, how are you? I gotta remember that the live stream, my audio, is about 10 to 20 seconds behind on what ever I'm talking about. I was going to do a poll the other day and ask you guys what you wanted from the live stream, but I got kind of busy putting other polls up, so... Okay, I'm seeing number 1 is going to win. I figured it would. That's why I give you the number 1 option. So, I'm glad to hear that you're doing good, Lone Wolf. I'm okay. I got off of work today and tried to hurry up and schedule the live stream. Got some minor discomforting issues on pain, but We're going to get through this. So let me go back over here and find a birthday story. I had several pulled up. I think I might do this one. This one's not too long, not too short, and it might take up a good chunk of the live stream. So, let me check the live chat one more time, and we'll go into it. Oh, thank you, Tolman. That's very awesome. Thank you. Okay, this story is entitled, "Every year on my birthday, I have to die." I die for the first time. Right, sorry. Alright, clickety click, quit clicking around. Okay, somebody just took him and put him in the bedroom. Okay, so here we go. I died for the first time on the 18th of August, 2006. It wasn't a particularly pleasant death, nor was it one that I expected. It was simply the random act of violence that destroyed my life, and it came out of nowhere. We were just relaxing at the pub, enjoying a few drinks after a busy day at work. It was my turn to buy a round of drinks, so I was trying to get the attention of the bartender. I felt someone punch me in the side. At first I thought someone had just hit me, but then I felt the warmth and the rapid stream of blood pouring out of my shirt. I realized then and there that I'd actually gotten stabbed. As far as I can remember, it wasn't even that painful. Still, my legs gave out underneath me, and I collapsed to the floor. Even then, I worried more about ruining my expensive suit, ignoring the fact that I might be dying. Oncoming death is funny like that. Everyone thinks the expectation that they'll get out of from whatever horrible situation the universe has thrust upon them. At least that's what I thought. As the life drained from my body, the world around me was just faded to black, and before I knew it, I had just died. Then there was the void. At first it was little more than darkness, only broken by weird shapes and colors in the distance. As I regained a sense of surroundings, I was dragged towards a new world, one without pain, suffering, nor death. All there were people on a journey to different destinations, whether they had all died like myself, or if they weren't born yet. I didn't know. All I knew was that I wasn't afraid anymore. The worries, the anxiety, all my fears had been left behind. A light appeared in the distance, endlessly far away. I knew that would be my final destination, my final purpose in the brief life I'd led. Unfortunately, I never managed to get that far. I was jolted awake in my own bed, soaking wet from sweat and shaking like a maniac. My hand reflectively clutched my side to cover up the wound I sustained, but it wasn't there anymore. In fact, I didn't have a single scratch on me. Had it all been a dream? My phone lit up on the bedside table. I picked it up and found dozens of text messages and missed calls. "Hey man, we're at the pub. You coming or what?" The first message read, sent at 9:43 p.m. "Hey, Rick? Oh, where the heck are you?" The second message read, sent at 10:23 p.m. Then there were a couple of phone calls and other messages. "I guess you fell asleep, or maybe you're getting lucky. Whatever, I'll drink another shot in your honor. Happy birthday, Rick." Then I had over 20 phone calls and a singular message that sent shivers down my spine. "For crap's sake, pick up your phone. Something happened to Danny." I immediately called back. My fingers were trembling both from anticipation and from the memory of what had happened only a night ago. Even if my death had been little more than a nightmare, I knew for sure that I'd met up with my friends at the pub. The phone rang 3 times, then Jake picked up. "Rick, is that you? Where the heck are you?" Jake asked with panic-tied voice. I don't know what happened. I guess I fell asleep," I half asked, half stated. "Danny got stabbed last night," Jake said without listening to my explanation. "Stabbed? How?" "I don't know. Some nut job just walked up to him and stabbed him in the side." I almost dropped my phone in shock. Danny had been attacked just like myself, in exactly the same place. 1,000 thoughts rushed through my mind, but worry quickly became my main concern. "Is he all right?" "He's still in surgery. They're only letting his wife know about it. Wait, here she comes." Jake puts his phone down, but I could still hear the muffled sounds of their discussion. Danny's wife seemed upset, and I couldn't make out the words. "Jake?" I asked. He's dead. Danny's dead." The next few moments turned into a blurry haze of information. We all known Danny since we were kids, and now he was just gone. The murderer never even made it out from the pub. Apparently got shot by one of the patrons, and as he tried to attack another guest. Still, I just couldn't shake the feeling that I was supposed to die that night. Regardless of what happened, time marched on without answers. Some of our co-workers quit after Danny's death, trying hopelessly to move on. I didn't blame them. I also needed some distance. I never even told them what I experienced that night. It wouldn't have helped the situation anyway. A year passed, and I hardly spoke to any of my friends. I started to get some semblance of normalcy in the wake of Danny's death, but that would all come to an end on the 18th of August, 2007. My birthday had arrived yet again, and I had absolutely no intentions of celebrating it. Instead, I called in sick to work, bought a bottle of whiskey, and spent the day playing video games. By the time day had given way to night, I almost finished the bottle. Even as a rather large guy, the alcohol had hit me hard. At around 9 o'clock, I just passed out in the bed, awaiting a horrible hangover in the morning. I only awoke around midnight when I heard the front door forcefully break open, followed by footsteps and whispers. I tried to get up, still drowsy from the alcohol. As I took one step out of my bed, I slipped and came tumbling down onto the floor. It produced a massive crash, loud enough to alert whatever intruders had broken in. "I thought you said no one would be home," a man stated angrily. "Don't worry about it. I'll deal with them." The footsteps moved quickly to my direction. I tried to lock the door, but they were too fast, kicking it open and knocking me back to the ground. A masked man entered my room holding onto a gun. He only spoke a single sentence to me before pointing the weapon at me and pulling the trigger. "You should have stayed quiet." Unfortunately, the man was a horrible shot. He aimed at my head, but had hit me right in the throat instead. There I lay, drowning in my own blood as I desperately gasped for air. I couldn't crawl away, and I couldn't call for help. I died on my bedroom floor on my own birthday, just as I had a year earlier. Once the life finally drained from my body and the god-awful pain ceased, I was back in that world beyond again. I walked through the same colorful dimension that lay just on the edge of life. I admired the shapes and the colors as they passed. In the distance, I saw a tree with branches stretched endlessly far from its trunk. From each branch dangled a person, real but not existing in our world. I wanted to visit them, but that wasn't my destination, because just like before, just like last year, I would awake in my own bed harmed by the events from the previous night. My phone buzzed, and I was filled with that unfathomable dread. I still couldn't quite believe it. But I started to understand that someone would take my place in death. Hello? Rick, it's Dad. Your mother, she's passed away last night. A lump formed in my throat. I knew what was coming next, but I had to ask. Dad? What happened? The police say it was a burglary gone wrong. I don't know. I was working late, and I should have been there. The discussion trailed off from there. My dad was distraught and could barely form coherent sentences. He blamed himself for not being there, but I knew the truth. It was my fault. During the next 2 months, he fell into a deep depression. I couldn't blame him. He just lost the love of his life. I moved in with him just to help him pick up the pieces. He put on a strong face, trying his best to keep the ship afloat, but I could tell how close he was to just breaking down. If only I'd been there. It wasn't your fault, Dad. Had you been there, you might be gone too. You don't know that. But I did know, because the burglars weren't even supposed to visit my parents' house. They were supposed to kill me. I had to come clean, and I had to let him know the truth. But how could I? Half a year passed, and the secret ate at me. After everything that had happened, I still didn't know how to explain it. Still, I decided it was time to share my curse. Hey, Dad, can we talk? Yeah, what's going on? He asked with worried expression on his face. He knew me well, and he could tell a heavy burden had weighed me down. I started by telling him about my first death, down to the smallest detail. Of course, it matched everything that people had witnessed in the pub that night, even the location of the stab wound. I told him Danny had taken my place in death, and that I felt the guilt. Naturally, he was skeptical at first, but then I told him about my mother, and I didn't spare him any details. I told him where I had gotten shot, that the door had been broken down, and that there were 2 robbers. Every detail matched perfectly down to the letter. I'm so sorry, Dad. It was my fault. I killed her. He just sat there in silence, processing what I just told him. Son, it wasn't your fault. I was confused. There wasn't a single ounce of anger in his words, only overwhelming empathy. How can you say that? She didn't have to die, Dad. He mulled over the next words carefully before speaking. You didn't do anything wrong, Rick. You just went about your life, and things happened to you. I don't know why you've been brought back, or even how, but you're not to blame for what's done to you. So you believe me? I asked. He nodded and embraced me in a hug. Suddenly, I wasn't alone in the world anymore. Someone knew what was happening to me. What if it happens again? Then we'll get through it together. He stood by these words, even as my next birthday rolled around. That death was more tame. I just slipped in the shower and broke my neck. The last, though, that went through my mind as I left the world for a 3rd time was, what a freaking cliche. Once again, I woke in my bed and I called out for Dad, making sure he was still alive, horrified that he might have been taking my place. I couldn't even breathe until he came rushing to my side, asking what had happened. I broke my neck, but I'm fine, I think. It took a while before I figured out who had taken my place this time. But once I heard that my boss had died, something broke inside me. He was the kindest man I'd ever met, and just like myself, he slipped and broke his neck in the shower. That was the final straw. It wasn't some bizarre coincidence I could brush off, nor a premonition. I decided then and there that I couldn't live with the responsibility. I had to put a stop to it, even if it meant giving up my own life. I figured that if I took control over my own fate and killed myself outside of my own birthday, maybe I could prevent more people from dying. First, I left behind a long letter to my father, explaining why I'd chosen to leave. I couldn't face him in person. I knew he would just try to talk me out of it. But it was something I had to do. I couldn't allow any more people to die on my behalf. Alas, fate is a fickle mistress. No matter how hard I try, I just couldn't end my own life. I tried hanging, but the rope broke. Then I tried to shoot myself, but the gun jammed. When that failed, I tried to drive my car into a tree, but somehow survived that as well. Any attempt was met with failure, and all I could do was to wait for my next birthday and let someone else die in my place. No matter how many times I tried, I couldn't die. I was a slave to destiny, and it was destroying me. In 2009, I was hit by a drunk driver, and my girlfriend took my place. In 2010, I drowned, and my kind neighbor had to go through that death. In 2011, I died from a brain aneurysm, which ended up killing my aunt. And so on, and so on. Each year, I'd die, and a person close to me would take my place. I kept trying to find a way out, but fate wouldn't have it. Years went by. And on the 18th of August, 2019, I would die for the 14th time. I'd already fallen sick a week earlier, which to the doctor's confusion, according to each and every laboratory value, I was fine. Yet I kept getting sicker. My father and I both knew my time was near, but he also knew I'd be forcefully brought back. Then at midnight on my birthday, my heart just gave out. I was jolted awake in my own bed, and the sickness was little more than distant memory. "Dad!" I called out. No response. I got out of bed and called his name again, and I was met with silence. I didn't have to call out a third time. I already knew what had happened. I carefully walked into his room and horrified at what I knew would come. He was dead, just gone from a heart attack. He'd taken my place, and I could do nothing to save him. The funeral came and went in a blur. The only noticeable thing was the missing seats from the people who had passed before him. Some of them had lived their own lives and died as nature intended. But a number of them were supposed to live on. Instead, they were taken my place in death. I inherited a number of things from my father. Among them, I found a letter addressed to me. It looked rather worn, so I could tell he had written it a long time ago. Dear Richard, today is your birthday, and it has officially been a year since your mother passed. While I miss her greatly, I am so thankful to still have you around. I know that if she was given the choice, she would want you to live. I feel the same way. We both know that I might one day take your place in death. Never doubt that I would happily give you my life, if it means that you may live on. You didn't choose this curse, so never blame yourself. Just do what every person is supposed to do. Appreciate the people around you, because you never know which one day might be their last. I love you dearly, Dad. Since I read that letter, I've been looking for a way out. My father might want me to stay behind, but how can I live on knowing that I'm taking someone's place? I've long since left town, living by myself in a cabin somewhere away from people. Hopefully, if I have no one left that cares for me, people will stop dying. At least until I can figure out not only how to die, but to actually stay dead. I'm so sorry if you take my place. And that's the end of the story, everyone. Let me join back to the live chat. I am sorry, I probably have missed a lot of stuff. Hey, Creepy Clown Girl, how are you? I hope you're still in the chat. I may have missed that while I was reading the story. Sorry, that story got a little emotional at the end. I wasn't trying to go for emotion. I was trying to go for scary. Thank you, Todd. I thought it was a very good story, too. Don't forget to rate and let's discuss this. Because I really love that. Wow. That story got me. I'm going to freely be honest. I didn't read the story before I read it tonight. I just so happened seeing the title, read the first paragraph, and went, ooh, this gets me. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to read this tonight if we have time. Sorry for the sniffles. Yes, Evil, the story did get intense. It was a very intense story. Thank you, Lone Wolf. I thought it was a great story. Thank you, Evil Outcast. Oh, Leon, you gave it a 10. Evil, you gave it a 11. September, thank you. It was a great story. Outrun 9.5. I'm trying to see if I can find another story that we can have time to read. Because I'm enjoying this. I don't really want to cut it too short. But as long as everybody's enjoying and everybody's in the chat, I don't see like a big dip in numbers. I will keep going for a little bit longer. I'm going to leave the chat for just a second to look up a shorter, because all the stories I picked are like 20, 30 minutes long, and I don't know how you guys feel about really long stories. So I'm going to real quickly see if I can find some scary birthday stories that... Oh god, that one's kind of short. Okay, that one's a little... That's not appropriate. I don't want to read that on the live stream. What's this one? 30 very short tales of horror. That's not birthday. Make some weird noises. So what do you guys think about the story? I may record that for next year's actual like birthday video, because it'll give it some time to not be fresh anymore. Oh, Leon, you gave me a floof cat. I love floof cats. Do I need another floof? I don't know. I got a lot of floofs running around. Sorry, I had to turn on my microphone for a second. Had some little fellow trying to join the live stream. Thank you, Lone Wolf, for stopping by. I'm so glad you came by. It means so much to me. Thank you so much. Freebird! I'm desperately trying to find another story that's not like, super duper long. What's this one? Let's see. Continue. How long is this one? Okay, I think I might have found another story. I have not pre-read this one, so if I somehow quit reading halfway through, you guys know that there was something that I do not condone on the channel, and I would have to cut it off. Todd, yes, it did kind of remind me of a scary groundhog. That I was thinking that as I was reading it, I was like, oh, wow, this is pretty. Whew. Oh, Leon, wish you could stay longer. But I'm so glad you came by and you brought floofs and you put up a protection barrier. Thank you so much. And I will say this before you go. Freebird! PA gives the story an 8, mostly because I wish that the author would have gone in more of it in depth as to why the main character was cursed. I do agree, PA. I was thinking that as the story was ending, not ending, but somewhere through the middle of the story, it seemed like the writer was fixing, like, the dad might have explained, like, this is a family curse, and you're just one picked out of, like, every so many generations, picked to do it. Oh, and I just realized, I'm sorry, I did not change the background for 90% of this live stream is just a black screen. I'm sorry, I got so wrapped up in wanting to read this story, I just forgot I forgot to click the button. I'm sorry. But are you guys interested in another story that might be about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes long? Or are we getting tired and we need to cut it short? Well, not short. We've been going for almost an hour, but cut it down and maybe read more birthday stories next Friday. Or just save them and make a big video for next year. I don't know. I'm really up for anything you guys want to do. I just want everybody to enjoy the live streams. Definitely missed this. I'm sorry, I'm clacking my fingernails together because my nerves are setting in. I've missed reading stories. That was fun, reading that story and just getting all into the story and not knowing, just like you guys, I do not know what's going on. That's another reason why I don't read a lot of these stories before I come to the channel, because I'm just as much shocked as you are. So we're both getting a surprise. So are you guys interested in another story to be read? Oh, wow. You guys are... Yes, more? Okay. Now, just remember, I have not pre-read this story. I have no idea what's going on, so we shall be shocked together. We shall dive into the shadows. So, like usual, I ask that you take my hand, and we shall dive into the next shadow together. Are you ready? This story is entitled Happy Birthday. Yesterday was my birthday, and I woke up late. At the time, I thought that the rush of getting ready for work would be the worst part of my day. But looking back, it was the high point. I didn't have change for the bus, so I needed to stop by the convenience store on the way to break a 20. Luckily, there wasn't a line when I got there, so I grabbed a pack of gum and handed the money to the man behind the counter. Usually this man would look at me with general indifference when handling my transactions, but this morning he was smiling warmly, like I was an old friend. Instead of just handing me my change, the man started to looking around, and as if in search of something without knowing what he wanted to find, and eventually plucked a lighter from the display on the counter. Here, for you, my friend. I don't want that. Oh, a different color? He started to put it back. No, I don't want to buy a lighter, I said impatiently, assuming that the smile was him trying to get me to spend more money. You misunderstand, he replied, still smiling. A gift. No charge. After glancing at my change and guessing that he was telling the truth, I took the money and the lighter. Thanks, I mumbled, confused, shoving the money and the lighter in my pocket so I could hurry to the bus. You're very welcome, he called, As I made way to the door, "Happy birthday, AJ." I stopped long enough to shiver as it crawled up and down my spine. Then I chose to keep walking. It was strange enough that he knew my name, but the fact that he knew it was my birthday was just creepy. I never tell anyone that it's my birthday, and I've never shown him my ID before. The strangeness continued on the bus. When I tried to pay for my ticket, the driver placed a hand over the money and manually printed out a day pass on the machine. Before I could ask why, he smiled and gestured to the ticket. "Not today, AJ. Happy birthday." I nodded and took the ticket and sat down and started mulling it over, trying to make sense of these surprise well wishes. Someone, for some reason, must have decided to give my birthday a memorable start by paying these guys to be nice to me, right? Pathetically, I realized that I didn't know anyone who would go to those lengths to mess with me. I don't have any friends outside of work, and I'm not even really close to any of my coworkers, so none of them would have even known my birthday. More importantly, how would someone know ahead of time that I would be at the convenience store when I didn't even know it? And how would they know that I'd be on a later bus than usual? After a few minutes, my stop was on the other side of the intersection. We were waiting right in front of the large parking lot at the supermarket where I stock shelves. I started tapping my foot, worried I'd be more than a few minutes late if the light didn't change quickly. The bus driver sighed happily and turned on the intercom. "All right, everyone. We have just enough time to do something special before the light changes." When I looked around, I expected that the other passengers would look just as confused as me. Not that they would all be looking at me. Warm smiles, familiar stares, and all my direction. I stood up, but the bus driver, who was now beside me, lightly pushed me down into the seat. "Don't be embarrassed, pal. Just be happy that we're all not giving you birthday spankings." The other passengers laughed at that. I felt so helpless, surrounded by all of these strangers that seemed to be planning something for me. I always thought that I would run away in a fight or flight scenario, but apparently there was a third option. Just flat downright fright. I was glued to the spot, terrified. I couldn't will myself to do anything about it. The driver patted my shoulder and took a step back. "Okay, you all ready?" He held his hands out and started waving them around like a conductor. "And a 1, and a 2, and a..." "Happy birthday to you," the passengers and driver sang together. "Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear AJ. Happy birthday to you." And many more, the driver added, which got a hearty laugh out of the passengers. As I was stunned into silence again, I had that feeling of being messed with, and as though these people were in on the joke, but something was so incredibly off about it. It didn't feel like strangers pranking a target. It felt like the awkward and wholesome gestures of a family and friends. To see it, to feel it, from complete strangers was like I was being violated. Before I could muster up the courage to ask the driver who put everyone up to this, he returned to his seat, chuckling to himself. The light turned green, and he drove to the bus stop, where he patiently waited for me to get off the bus. Instead of pressing, I took my chance to leave, heading for the back door so I could avoid the driver. When I began to walk past the other passengers, they stood up and started holding things up to give me. An old woman tried to give me her lip balm. A skater held out a board and told me to take it. A teenage girl offered her cell phone. A heavy-set man in a hoodie and sweatpants produced what I could only assume was used wad of tissue paper. then reconsidered and took off his glasses. You nearsighted? Try 'em on. Brushing past them and making an effort not to actually start running in the process, I shook my head at them and said the first thing that came to my mind, no thanks, you're too kind. The song was more than enough. They all took my words at face value and nodded to themselves in agreement. The big guy putting his glasses on and blowing his nose. I hopped off the bus, unable to breathe a sigh of relief until I saw the door close behind me, and I stood in silence while I watched it drive away. After a moment, the passengers stopped looking in my direction and returned to their seats. I hated how normal it looked in imagining that instead of the real estate ad on the side of the bus, the space was taken up entirely by words, yes, weird crap just happened in here, and we don't get it either. When the bus was out of view, I realized that I was definitely late for work, and I started walking through the large parking lot to the supermarket. I was grateful for the distraction and tried to delude myself into thinking that it could have been an elaborate prank. I entered the chilly store shivering from more than my own unsettling experience and made a beeline to the employees area. I passed the door greeter, an old man sitting on a chair. He grumbled, "Happy birthday, AJ," and held out his cane as a gift. My heart dropped and my pace quickened. Just a prank, just a prank, just a prank. Don't freak out. It's okay, I muttered to myself, turning the only answer I had into an immense mantra. Just a prank, just a prank, just a prank. Don't be upset. As if it proved me wrong and unsettled me further, everyone I passed on the way to the employees area greeted me with the words, "Happy birthday." I just stared at the ground ahead of me and pretended that I could not hear them. I reached the employees area and went into the bathroom, where I took a moment to catch my breath, while leaning against the wall of lockers. Just a prank, just a prank. Just an impossible, elaborate, mind-blowing, off-the-chain prank. The last few years, I'd kept the fact that today was my birthday to myself. I didn't have anyone here that I was close to. The work day was like any other day, and my coworkers had no reason to think of it was special. The only difference on my end was that my old high school friends would send me birthday greetings on Facebook, and I would expect a call or a text from my mom. It was like a stark reminder that I was lonely, but since I always kept it to myself, it was like a self-imposed isolation. I already didn't like my birthdays, not in the last few quiet years of my life, but this was an entirely different hell for me. After calming myself, I came to the realization that I couldn't handle this at all today, and I had to I should just head home, bunker down, hope that everything would be fine again tomorrow. If not, what would everyone be saying? Happy Wednesday, AJ? Or here's my wallet? Or would you like my wedding ring? No, this had to connect to my birthday. I opened up my locker and instead of taking out my uniform shirt like usual, turned my radio on and made sure I was on the right channel. I contacted my department manager, a hard man who was likely already fuming about me being late, and told him that I wasn't feeling well and had to go home. Instead of getting the warm and fuzzy response I expected, I got a jarringly normal, angry response. Seriously? You couldn't call ahead of time? You've got to be... He exhaled angrily. Just wait there. I turned the radio off and waited by my locker, expecting to be verbally chewed up and spit out, as is the usual for anyone who pisses off the boss. After the morning I was having, I almost welcomed it. As the door opened a couple of minutes later, my red-faced department manager walked in. When he passed the threshold, I saw a transition. The fury in his eyes melted away and replaced by a docile haze. His grimace was wiped away and replaced with a closed-mouthed smile. That was foreign to my manager's face. It was as though I saw a level of this strange influence that I shouldn't have. I could swore that there were invisible strings being pulled before my eyes. AJ, so good to see you. Happy birthday. Those words, kind words that would never leave my boss's lips if he was in control of himself, were the final pieces to this understanding what was happening. Though the question of why eluded me, that didn't matter. I had to think quick on my feet. I want a gift, I blurted out. He nodded. Except the selfish demand was completely reasonable. What would you like? He started shoving his hands into his pockets as if to consider what he had on him. I have my phone, radio, wall, a ride home, I said quickly before adding in silence, for the sake of my own frickin' sanity. My department manager mimed the act of zipping his lips up and mentioned for me to follow him. He walked right out of the store, and I was relieved to see that everyone was following what I assumed were the rules of whatever the heck was happening. They wished me happy birthday, offered me presents, a beautiful cashier making a very lewd offer that I won't repeat here because it makes me blush when I remembered to talk about it. And they all knew my name. In a way, now that I understood it, I knew how terrible my newfound power, one could call it a curse, was. People offering their precious belongings, their bodies, while under some sort of strange influence. It would be immoral of me to take advantage of any of this. The ride home was quiet, and I needed that. I watched my boss drive away from the curb. After he got far enough away that he was out of range, the car slowed to a stop for a moment, and then kept going. When I got home, I went back to sleep for a few hours. Then I called my boss. He seemed like he was back to his normal, but when I had thanked him for driving me home, the way he stumbled around saying it wasn't any trouble makes me think that he didn't remember what happened before he started driving back to work. Whatever created this range of influence around me seemed to not want the affected people to remember their experience. I got a call not long after, my mother wishing me a happy birthday and asking me if I'll be visiting for Thanksgiving. I told her that I have to check my schedule, but I wanted to. After spending the evening, mulling over everything, I waited until midnight and walked to the convenience store. A different man was behind the counter. I bought another pack of gum and paid in cash. He didn't say a word to me, and I was okay with that. The strange influence that day had on everyone around me has passed, and things seem to be back to normal. I can only guess why it happened, and my best answer comes from the feeling of familiarity that I got from the bus of singing strangers. They treated me like family, like we were close, and it wasn't something I missed having so badly over the past few years that I began resenting my own birthday. Maybe somehow this resentment forced those around me to fill the void that I've been feeling, a sort of unconscious power I didn't know I had. Heck, for all I know, some sort of supernatural outside force finds people like me and gives us this power during our birthdays. I don't know, and I don't want to know. The void I've been feeling either way is probably responsible. I'm lonely. I've been lonely. And if I don't put myself out there in the next year, this could happen again. A self-fulfilling prophecy. The best thing I can do now is make some friends. Okay, guys, that's the end of the story. Let me go back to the chat and see what I have missed. Looks like I've not missed very much. So I see that people wanted me to read the stories. Is this what it's like to have a birthday in the Twilight Zone? Thank you, Gamma, for stopping by. I hope you're still in the chat. If not, I can find some other way to thank you later by sending you a message. I'm sorry for the dog barking in the background. Apparently, one of my little Pomeranian got left unattended, and now he's barking, and I can't get up to go stop it, I don't think. Hold on a second. Just give me 1 second. Nobody leave the chat. Nobody disappear. I'll be right back to shut that dog up. Sorry for that pause to go not have a dog yapping in the background. I'm going to give this story about an 8.5 just because it was interesting. I like some of the sarcastic undertones. I mean, I sort of felt like a mild Deadpool story here. So I'm going to give it 8.5. I opened the door and the dog's still barking. Bear, come on. Come on, Bear. But I'm not going to read any more stories tonight. That's going to be it on the stories. So I'll take a couple minutes to say hi to everyone that is entered the chat after I started reading stories. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories. I tried to find some of the best ones that were not like an hour reading. Trying to think. So far, as you guys can tell, we're revamping the channel within a few short weeks. We will have our schedules up and loading. We'll go back into full swing of live stream on Friday, 1 to 2 regular videos, reviews in front of the camera. I'm hoping maybe by next Friday, I will be in front of the camera for this live stream next week. To do in front of the camera. I have a bunch of things set up and ready to go to have a, just a pleasant place to have set up for the next in front of the camera. But we're getting into this, guys. I'm going to be full swing back into it. I'm getting a schedule. I'm getting my act together and getting full-fledged into this. I've missed you guys so much. I can't think of anything else. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget to stay cool, stay safe, stay hydrated, be careful. Hopefully I will see you guys in like Discord chats and Instagram and Twitter and hopefully maybe even TikTok coming up soon. Thank you guys for being here for this birthday stream. You made it wonderful. You always make my streams and my videos amazing. Look for a lot of polls on Twitter right now because I'm trying to make sure I get this channel every way that I can for you guys to enjoy. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. I've missed saying this on my videos. I'm pulling this live stream to an end, and I'm going to say this to you guys. Until next time, sweet dreams. Good night.